Montgomery, Alabama, October 2016. Found this the other day. This is kind of an interesting thing. You got a golf course here, which is kind of nice. It's a 9-hole, I believe. I don't think it's 18. I think it's a 9-hole. You know, and it's kind of nice. And then it sits right next to a freeway off in the distance. I don't know if you can make it out. If you can spot one of many trucks. Okay, and cars, of course, that travel that freeway. So you have the freeway, and then you have the neighborhood golf course. Okay, and then next to the golf course is the neighborhood. Okay, aptly named Gateway, I believe. I believe that's the name of the community. Somewhere over there, but you have like a neighborhood there. Okay, yeah. So you have the neighborhood, and you have the 9-hole, and then the freeway. Okay, with cars and trucks and vans and things like that. It's interesting. So much of the last 2-3 years that I've been on the street, so much of it seems to have taken place on an escalator. Not an escalator that goes up and down so much, but one like you'd find at an airport, that you just stand and the scenery changes around you. So as you stand there, people come and go, and the scenery just changes. And you don't have to do anything. Okay? I've been in Montgomery now, maybe a month or so. I have yet to have the same bus driver. I don't think I've seen the same bus driver. I've been to the stores in town here. I don't think I've seen the same clerk twice. Okay. So it's kind of like, and this, you notice these things, the communities that I've been in the past 2 or 3 years have kind of been like airports. You don't see the same people. There's no community. It's more Whoville than Hooterville. And of course, if you're homeless, everybody has the answer. Everybody is the solution to your problem. Okay? Everybody's the rescue. It doesn't matter whether it's a boy of 5 years old, a girl of 16, a woman of 35, or a man of 50. Everyone has the answer for you, and everyone is your salvation. Well, believe me, after 3 years of being on the street, that optimism, any kind of optimism you may have, and that's what feeds their ego and arrogance, I think, because, they're safe and secure. But after you've been on the street for a while, any kind of optimism that this is the way community is, and this is the way people are, slowly disintegrates. And it gets worn away, if not torn away, quite literally. Let me give you an example about salvation. The weather here is about to turn cold here in Alabama. It's been very nice. The nights have been 65, upper 50s. Well, tomorrow night, the bottom drops out here I guess, and winter arrives finally and permanently, I think, here in Alabama, much like it did in Atlanta. And tomorrow's nighttime high is supposed to be like 50, or I'm sorry, 45. It's going down to 45. Anyways, I'm reminded of a story. Last year, I was in Columbus, Ohio, and I got to know a lady there that would frequent the McDonald's downtown in Columbus, Ohio. Her name was Lisa. She was a white woman. She was about my age, about 50, 55 years old. She had experience on the street. She had been there, um, uh, and knew everything about it. And she currently was living in a, not currently, but she had an apartment, a one-bedroom apartment, I believe it was, over like 2 blocks away. Okay? Some kind of affordable housing project. Okay? And one time, she invited me over, and I went. I needed a shower, I think it was. I was trying to stay at the men's shelter there, and of course, there are so many homeless boys that need shelters that, men got to do without. So anyways, she gladly relented and let me take a shower at a place. I think it was one morning when I found her there, I asked. And, a beautiful apartment, very nice. So anyways, time went on, and, I was in and out of the shelter system there, and on the streets and things like that, and moving around Columbus and the metropolitan area. And it really didn't bother me that much, because the weather had started to turn and started to be nice out, so I had no problem. But then it began to turn cold. And I mean, it was going to be real cold one night. This was about 3 or 4 months after I met Lisa. And so I kind of had a feeling where I'd find her and when I would find her. So I went to the McDonald's and hadn't been there for weeks and weeks and weeks. And at about 7 o'clock or so, looking to hope she'll take me in like some pet that needed, taken in for the night. Because from what I was hearing on the broadcast, it was going to be cold. So, sure enough, she hit her mark, I hit mine. She said, "You don't have to say a word, let's go." So we head back to her apartment building, about 2 or 3 blocks away. We get to the entrance, and they have some kind of like security kind of thing, like you have to check in if you have any guests, like overnight, you have to check them in. So, and she had done this with me when I went to take the shower. There was a nice black woman in a wheelchair who was checking people in the first time I went there, and no problem. Except for tonight, when it was going to be the coldest night of the year. This woman, all of a sudden, who recognized me and knew who I was, got particular. She wanted an ID. Now, about 2 months earlier, I was jacked by a couple of Johnny Cashes in this squat I was staying in. And they got my wallet and my bag and everything, and so I had no ID. But this woman, on what was going to be the coldest night of the year, insisted that I have an ID. I show identification. And I said, I've been here before. You know me. I know you. I recognize you. Don't you recognize me? And mind you, I'm with Lisa, who lives in the building. This woman would not relent. She would not allow me in. And I told her, I had my ID stolen, honey. She's there, I don't care. Regulations are regulations. And Lisa is there pleading too. He's homeless. It's going to be the coldest night of the year. Insert her name here. Will you please, we can discuss this in the morning. Well, I have to go up to my superior, So she pretends, I guess she calls this woman, and oh, I can't reach her, so you're going to have to talk to her tomorrow morning. I just looked at Lisa. Lisa looked at me. Both of us looked at this black woman sitting in this wheelchair on what is about to begin the coldest night of the year, and I walked out the door. What? How do I title this? Catfight? Is this how the community fords the course for people who are on the road to bring them into the community?